Set. Places, everybody. And action.
It's time once again for the Hooked on Movies podcast. Today, we are celebrating the anniversary of The 40-Year-Old Virgin. Yay! With me. With
Kelly
with me or
Clarkson.
Ted. Yes.
If I have to hear a Yamo be there one more time, I'm going to Yamo burn this place to the ground.
And Ken.
I'm very discreet, but I will haunt your dreams.
And I am Eric. Hey, today's forecast, dark and cloudy and a chance of drive-by. And if you know those lines, you know we're talking the 40-year-old version. Want to thank everybody for listening. And of course, you can find us on all the streaming services. Shout out there to our friends at the Dorkany Network. We appreciate their support and
What's
their
up, dorks?
listening. That's right, dorks. Okay, let's talk about the first time we saw this movie. Ted, you.
I'm pretty sure Michelle and I saw this in the movie theater.
How would
I'm
you forget
sure?
if you saw it?
I'm almost positive because at this time when this came out, we were seeing a lot of movies in the movie theater.
Okay. How about you, Ken?
Oh, I definitely saw it in the theater.
Not cable.
Not cable. I'm surprised me and you didn't go see this. This would have been right at
yeah,
the time frame that we would have seen it.
I feel so left out
Yeah,
because I
would have
watched
just
it on
met
video.
I would have
Yeah.
just met you.
Yeah. Well, let's see. You met me in 2004.
5.
Was it 5? That was
It was
4.
2005. Maybe it was 2004. I don't remember.
I don't know.
It all blends together at this point. Maybe it was 2004. I've always been saying 2005.
Plus or minus 1 year. We'll give it that COVID.
Yeah. I'm
COVID
surprised we didn't
curve.
see this together. That is interesting.
Well, I saw it on video. I don't remember when, but it was on video.
Video.
I wish I
Video.
would have seen it in the theater, but I did not. Which kind of
Yeah.
sucks. I
It
wish they'd
was-
bring this back to theater.
I'm sure eventually Fathom Events will do something with it.
Mhm,
I would
mhm.
imagine.
They almost did a sequel to this. And it was the Knocked Up.
I wasn't
Yeah,
crazy about Knocked
yeah.
Up.
It wasn't Knocked Up became its own movie, but there was going to be a
Yeah.
version called Knocked Up, and then they just went a different direction with it. Actually, I like the movie Knocked Up for the most part.
It's tolerable.
Yeah, I like it.
Let's go into particulars. Ted, what do you got for us?
So the particulars. The 40-Year-Old Virgin is directed by Judd Apatow. The screenplay was by Steve Carell and Judd Apatow. The music and score was by Lyle Workman. And very good for him for picking out some very good music. Running time is 116 minutes or 133 minutes for the unrated version, which I highly recommend. It was released August 19th, 2005. Had a budget of $26 million. And it had a box office gross of $177.4 million. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a critic score of a certified fresh, 85%, and an audience score of 84%. For what it's worth, IMDb says 7.1. The 40-Year-Old Virgin stars. So this is going to be kind of tough because some of these are just like, I just kind of chose some of the people that we know from the background characters. Of course, it stars Steve Carell as Andy Stitzer, Catherine Keener as Trish Piedmont, Paul Rudd as David, Romany Malco as Jay, Seth Rogen as Cal, Elizabeth Banks as Beth, Leslie Mann as Nikki, Jane Lynch as Paula, Kat Dennings as Marla Piedmont, Mindy Kaling in her first starring role as Amy, Gary Bednob as Mooj, Shelley Malale as Haziz, Nancy Walls as the health clinic counselor, and she is the wife of Steve Carell. And Jonah Hill stars as a customer at Trisha's store, and Kevin Hart has a bit part as a smart tech customer. I didn't go into all the people who were...
You don't need to. That's a
Who
pretty
were
good.
part of the-
That's a pretty good cast, actually.
Yeah. It's even some of the, like, those little bit parts, like the Kevin Hart thing is pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't go into all the speed dating women and all that. 'cause
No, you don't need
yeah.
to. Funny scene, yes, but we don't
Yeah.
need to know who they are.
Gina.
China. And then at the end, China girl's pretty cool.
She's pretty cool. You won't believe me, but
Yeah.
China kind of was kind of cool.
All right, Ken's tidbits.
Do 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 do. Ken's tidbits.
You know how I know you're gay? Well, that scene was improvised by Paul Rudd and Seth Rogen. So that's a nice little starting tidbit for you guys.
That's awesome.
According to Seth Rogen, Steve Carell was so nervous that the film would be shut down by the studio that he had prepared a backup version of this movie where there was like no single word of profanity. That wouldn't have worked, I don't think, in this case.
What is it, like 19 minutes long? It's like a sitcom?
Yeah, right. What was that movie that we were talking about that if you took all the
Porky's is one.
Well, I know Blazing Saddles would probably be one.
Blazing
Wolf
Saddles,
of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall
another
Street,
Yeah.
and Pulp Fiction, and Reservoir Dogs.
The TV version of that is like 15 minutes long.
It's not even worth
Reservoir
watching.
Dogs was horrible on Spike TV back in the day. That was not good.
So when Catherine Keener was cast, Steve Carell told Judd Apatow that her casting had legitimized the film's credibility.
Jeez.
Okay.
I guess. I don't know why, but
She is
Yeah,
a real actress. I mean,
yeah. I mean, if you look at everybody else in this film, really, they're pretty much,
Newbies.
I wouldn't say nobodies.
they're
but
newbies.
They're newbies.
Yes, they did.
So-
They weren't who they are today.
Because like Rogan, how many?
Canadian
when was
television?
when was Freaks and Geeks on NBC? That was like 2002,
Oh yeah, that was well
something
before.
like that. So, and that's because that was Apatow as well.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd had some before this, of course, but I think he was just kind of making a comeback. He had the Anchorman movie the year before. I mean, he was just starting to get his second wind, as you can say, which is still going to this day, basically.
And he's never aged one day.
Basically, yeah.
He has a deal with the devil.
Okay.
You didn't mention Jonah Hill's cameo, did you? As the
Yeah, I
eBay
did.
customer? Oh, you
Yeah,
did. Okay.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess he had gotten heat stroke on the end of the movie when they're all doing that the dancing and stuff like that.
So the Aquarius.
The Age of Aquarius, yeah.
Yes,
Heat
I guess
stroke, jeez.
he had heat stroke. He was definitely out of shape for
Yeah.
a kid of his
He's-
age at that time.
Yeah, he's definitely gotten into shape. That's for sure.
A person who was going to be in this movie, but the studio said no way, was going to be Jason Segel.
I
Really?
know.
Why is
And
that?
he would fit so perfectly into this movie too.
He fits in with all the other guys. I mean, he's in some of the other movies, like we were talking about. I believe he was in. Was it the
Knocked Up.
This Is 40?
Yep, this
Knocked
is
Up.
40 and Knocked Up.
Yeah. So he's been in some of these movies, but for whatever
He's
reason, at this
definitely
time,
an Apatow guy.
the We Sell Stuff on eBay store was a real store, so they decided to incorporate it into the movie. It wasn't in the movie originally, and they were just like, "Hey, it's here. Let's put it in."
Because
Cool.
it's so bizarre. It's so random.
I just love it when he goes in there and he's like, "I just want to buy these shoes, but you're making it difficult for me to do."
Right.
Yes.
Can I just pay you?
So I'm just going to give you some money and then you give me the shoes.
Right.
Could you
And the
imagine?
shoes are the best, too.
And he's just, I just want to take these home and put them on. I'm just
Right.
thinking, wow, this kid is messed up.
Because he plays it so straight. That makes it so funny.
Yeah.
So it's very serious, man.
Steve Carell's wife, who plays the therapist in this movie, actually suggested Jane Lynch for the role of Paula because Carell had actually worked with her in Second City.
The three of them worked in Second City together. Can you imagine that cast of Second City? How amazing that cast was?
Oh, incredible. Incredible.
Because I think Colbert was part of that cast as
I
well.
believe he was. Yeah.
So the electronics store in this movie was actually a Staples store that just closed down. So
It did look like
wasn't
a
set.
Staples. Yes.
It
Yeah.
had the Staples
wasn't a
feel
set,
to it.
which is kind of cool. I like the
Yeah.
fact that they didn't use a set for that. That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
The American Humane Association withheld its "No animals were harmed" disclaimer due to the fact that several tropical fish died accidentally during the making of this film.
Oh my goodness.
I saw that. That's just so wild.
That's just
What
so
scene
random.
would they have died in?
Maybe the Benihanas? I don't know. I mean, where would tropical fish
But
be at?
the Benihanas, do you have this tidbit about the Benihanas? Okay, so the Benihana that they go to is the same Benihana that they go to for the Christmas episode of The Office.
Well,
where-
it's in LA, I assume, right?
Yeah, where
Yeah.
Ed Helms and Steve Carell come back with the two waitresses. I just
So,
watched that episode.
I would say
recently.
that the tropical fish was probably in those shoes. And they died
I
in
thought they
those
were
shoes.
painted on the shoes.
No,
Maybe
there
they-
were
there's
there were
actual fish in them.
Oh, were
in the-
there? Oh, then
Yeah.
it's, yes.
It
That's
must
probably
be.
what they died.
It
it.
must be. Yeah.
Julie Bowen from Happy Gilmore fame and Modern Family. I don't know which role she was offered, to be
Or
honest. It doesn't
Beth.
really say here.
I think she was doing Boston Legal at the time.
Yeah, she would have been doing Boston Legal at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they offered it to her. She said, I don't really get it. So no thanks. And
Get it?
every time she sees the movie now, she goes, well, that was an idiot move on my part.
She's just like angered more and more every time she watches it.
Steve Carell's chest was generally
Oh.
waxed for this film.
I
Oh.
read this.
5 cameras set up to capture the scene, which was done in one take.
Yeah.
He insisted on actually having the actual wax. See, he told Apatow that it wouldn't be funny if it was a mock-up or if it was like a special effect. One of the other actors had started feeling sick during
It's
watching
the guy who leaves
who
the
actually
scene.
leaves it. Yeah,
Yes.
because he actually was sick. It took 3 to 4 hours to shoot the scene. The person who was waxing actually had asked for the chest hairs to be trimmed in advance to reduce the pain.
That
could you
bad,
imagine-
really? Wow.
Could you imagine that his chest hairs were
Good
even?
Lord, it's like a Sasquatch.
Yeah, it's like a forest basically. there.
Wow.
I guess there was a scene where they were going to do it like off the nipple, and she did not actually put on the Vaseline that you're supposed to put on
And just
beforehand.
ripped it off. Oh.
No, Apatow saved it
He stopped it just
Oh.
in time.
just in time.
Ooh.
Crowell eventually down the road had to shave the rest of it off.
Yeah,
So-
because he was walking around like a man-o'-lantern. That's so funny.
So Leslie Mann, who was Apatow's wife, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, came up with the idea to throw up in Andy's face. The original plan was for her and Andy were to be pulled over by the police, and it would turn out that Nikki was concealing a gun underneath her seat the whole time. Mann insisted, though, that vomiting on Andy would be funnier, and so she gulped down a mix of strawberry yogurt.
Yeah, would you have a daiquiri?
Ooh.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
had a dagger? Yeah. I
I love that.
Did
He's
you
like,
have a
here,
daiquiri?
blow into this. Oh, okay.
In a deleted, unrated scene, when Andy is on the phone trying to get help to get rid of his erection, the person on the other end is Apatow.
Is Apatow.
He's
And did you see that Apatow's daughter was the one that said that they should run into a bunch of cars too?
she recommended that she would fall asleep at the wheel.
Yeah.
And so that they would
Pass
hit
out.
the
Yeah.
carriage. Yeah. Yeah.
And his
Oh, those
daughters,
Apatows, they know what they're doing.
his daughters both star in This Is 40.
Yes.
That's a funny movie in itself.
Yeah, I like that movie.
So is it Shelley Mali who played Haziz?
Leo, or yeah, something like that.
Something like that. The one that says dark and cloudy with a chance of drive-by when referring to Jay arguing with his with a customer. In 2010, he was convicted of attempted murder.
Dun, dun,
He's
dun.
He's currently in prison.
Wow. How about
Yeah.
that, huh?
From what I read, that's an insane case too.
Is that like a
Well,
true
that's-
crime podcast in itself?
Probably
Yeah.
not a full episode.
Maybe we should do a podcast of actors that turn to like
Actors have gone
murderers.
bad, right?
Yeah.
I think that Hollywoodland has got that covered.
No, but not the way we would do it.
Right, right.
He's pretty good. Check it out. It's a good podcast.
Well, other people do what we do too. So somehow some people
There's
still listen
no
to us.
podcast I know of that somehow works in some type of sexual assault into every podcast they do.
Yeah, I know, right?
Even Snoopy.
It's because we're that good.
That's all I have for Kent's tidbits.
Yay, Ken. Those are some good tidbits there.
Good tidbits.
Makes you want to go out and watch the movie. Okay.
I have a feeling there's a plot coming.
Okay, the plot. Here we go. The 40-Year-Old Virgin is a movie that centers on Andy Stitzer, a shy and socially awkward electronics store employee who, at age 40, has never had sex. Andy lives a quiet life, collecting action figures and playing video games. His co-workers, David, Jay, and Cal, are shocked to learn about his virginity and set out to help him overcome his lack of experience with the ladies. Their effort includes awkward dating advice, setting up blind dates, and encouraging him to attend parties. Throughout the film, Andy has multiple unsuccessful and often comical encounters with women, such as a disastrous speed dating event and a painful chest waxing session. Despite the pressure from his friends, Andy develops genuine feelings for Trish, a single mother who owns a local shop. Instead of rushing into a physical relationship, Andy and Trish decide to take things slow, which allows Andy to build confidence and open up emotionally. After a series of misunderstandings and comic situations, Andy confesses his secret to Trish. Rather than being upset, Trish is supportive and understanding. The film ends with Andy and Trish getting married. Andy finally loses his virginity on their wedding night, marking a heartfelt and humorous conclusion to his journey of self-discovery. Do you think he was dropping acid too?
No.
With the Age
Why,
of
'cause-
Aquarius thing?
No,
The Age of Aquarius?
No,
Yeah,
no.
I think he's dropping acid.
It's supposed to represent he's achieved a new level.
Well, he did
Of-
achieve a new level, all right.
Yeah.
A
Yes,
new
he
level
did.
of understanding.
Yeah.
It's a nice ending, though. I like how they go
it's
into
very cool.
the song and dance. Yeah.
It is. It is pretty cool. I almost forgot that Andy was on there. I usually shut it down before that. So
Yeah, it's
All
pretty
right.
funny. The perfect song for it too.
yeah, Age of Aquarius.
Isn't that the end of Hair when everybody comes out
It
naked?
is. It is the end of Hair. Yes, you could throw in like Afternoon Delight,
Yes, that's another one, yeah.
but you're right. I like Age of Aquarius. So let's talk about Andy's friends, and I use that word very loosely early on because they just wanted him for the poker game. But
They think
Yeah.
he's a serial killer.
that's right.
Cal,
That's right.
Cal does.
And so does his girlfriend at the end. Don't kill me.
Right.
He does have that Dexter vibe to him, kind of. Let's see. How do Andy's friends try and help him, and what does this reveal about their personalities and their views on relationships? Which is like the whole movie. It is priceless.
I like that there's 3 different takes on it because not
Oh yeah.
each-
Oh, 3
each one
different
of 'em
perspectives.
Yeah.
brings a different perspective to it. Yeah, and I like it. I mean, you have Paul Rudd's character who's basically he's been jilted. You know, he went on he had a 2-month relationship, which
Yeah.
he thought was like the best thing ever. You know what? Sometimes I think about to myself, my best relationship outside of being married was like a 2-month relationship I had with a girl. So I guess I could relate to that, and maybe not the way it ended with them. So
But it's not lingering for 2 years down the road.
right to the point where I don't take a video camera and shoot my ass and try to shoot my front.
You better get your friend away because he's about ready to do a colonoscopy.
Right.
But they all are coming from, I think, a really good place, though. I mean, they really want to help Andy. I mean, we questioned about them being friends because of the poker game, but once he opens up in the poker game, they actually are generally wanting to help him. They actually really are friends. Maybe their
put the
advice
pussy
is
on a
not the best
pedestal.
in the world, but they are friends.
I think they're kind of co-workers at that point. I think as Andy starts to attempt to use their advice, I think they kind of bond a little bit more, but they really don't know kind of what he is until he really starts to move forward.
They
Yeah,
all
but-
bond over this.
They're making fun of him still, and
Well, he walks in afterwards after they talk, after they find out that he's a virgin. He walks into the store the next day. I love how he's like, sleeping in his bed, and he starts laughing, and or even when he's driving home with his bike, and he's like, bags of sand. Come on, man.
Bags of sand.
But he's sleeping in the bed, and then he realized when he wakes up, this is not going to go well.
Well,
The
he
first
didn't
two-
sleep at all. His eyes are open the whole
Right.
time. Yeah.
So he walks in there, and the first couple people are like, "Hey, how's it
Hey,
going?"
man. Yeah.
You know, everybody
Go-
starts like mentioning that he's a virgin. So Paul Rudd's character is the first one to really reach out to be a friend because he runs away, and Paul Rudd's character chases him down, and really tries to try to understand him. I think you could say they're work friends. However, I don't know work friends that really would do that, to be honest with you. I mean, that's a start of actually trying to be a true friend.
They started out as work acquaintances.
Right.
I wouldn't say friends, but then they developed into a very strong friendship.
I think what
Yes,
it is
throughout the
all
movie.
three of them are already friends. And so that kind of helps when you bring in a fourth person in. It's almost like you're adopting somebody into your clan,
Yeah.
right? So that's why the relationship is able to blossom as quickly as it does. Is
It's like the
because
wolf pack.
It's like a wolf pack, exactly.
The wolf pack, yeah.
And you
we
kind
started
of
out as 2, and then
Yeah.
we had it 3.
I think if it was just if they didn't know each other, I think then it might take longer for that relationship to blossom. But I think it's because they're all hanging out already together. That's why the relationship kind of goes fast. But that's how I buy it.
Yeah, no, I mean, by the end of everything, there's an affinity that they all have for each other. But the way that they approach things is very interesting because you have Jay, who is the ladies' man, who
Yeah.
he will do, he'll have sex with anybody, anytime. But
Well, you might have had sex with that she-male.
yeah. And he's just like, you just need to get out there and do it. Just do it and get it over with and everything like that. The person who actually gives him the best advice is Cal, because Cal tells him eventually, just tell Trish that you're a virgin
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she'll probably be okay with it. And of course, and then that's what Steve Carell does. And she's perfectly fine with it.
At the end of the day, that's what happens. He doesn't tell her, of course, right away.
Right.
I love it when him and Cal are helping that lady with the TV and they drop it. And he's even telling him in front of her, "I thought you were a serial killer." I mean,
Right.
I thought you were a serial killer.
And she's just standing there worried, not only worried because of the serial killer, but you just dropped the TV set, and they're like,
that
a lot of
TV's
padding on
trashed.
these things, no
Yeah,
problem.
A lot of
here."
padding, yes.
Yeah.
And she still tips him too.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Paul Rudd's character Dave is one of the funniest characters in this whole show because he's so hung up on Mindy Kaling's Amy
Yes.
that it's just he acts like that they went out for 4 or 5 years. He's despondent over this relationship, and the advice that he keeps giving to Steve Carell is it's funny, but it's not helpful in any way. And it's just kind of like he's trying to work through his own stuff.
Actually, I disagree with you. I think it is helpful. He's trying to help himself out more than I think he's trying to help out, Andy here. But I do think it is helpful. I think everybody's giving some type of advice that is helpful, but then comes with some bad advice as well. So it's kind of a mixture of things.
Yeah, and one of the cool things about this is Mindy Kaling's Amy, when they're at the speed dating thing, and she goes psycho.
Yeah.
Mindy Kaling is hilarious.
She is.
And she was a brilliant writer on the TV show The Office. And her character Kelly
and her own
was,
sitcom. She had her own show.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. She's very funny. There's something about this movie though that Steve Carell comes off as extremely likable and relatable, even though that at 40 years old, he's still a virgin. And we kind of get a little insight into that too, as to why that happened. It's just a few mishaps that took
Just
place.
a few mishaps. Yeah.
That prevented it. And and he's honest about it. He's like, and then I just stopped.
Yeah.
And you can relate to that a little bit. It's like, well, I guess this isn't meant for me.
I don't know if I can relate to that because some of the things
Yeah,
that
I
he
know.
does is just kind of over the top. I mean, you got the girl who wants to suck his toe, and so he just kicks her.
That's
Boom.
hilarious.
Yes. Yeah.
Boom. Yeah, some of the other things were just weird. I mean, it's
The chick with the braces in high school.
The whole
Gonna
point
be
of the movie is it's weird stuff that's just like, what?
But you know, one of the things that I read about this is that Steve Carell he plays Michael Scott in the Office. The Office showrunners, they weren't sure that the Office was going to work because Michael Scott was coming off as not funny but mean. The showrunners actually watched the 40-year-old virgin and adapted that Steve Carell into Michael Scott.
I don't get how that even worked because they're totally different characters.
They're completely different characters, but as the seasons of The Office go on, Michael Scott becomes more lovable.
In your opinion.
Whereas at the beginning, he's not really lovable at all.
Well, that's because it's based on the English version, which he wasn't very lovable.
No,
Yeah,
he's Ricky Gervais. And
I'm
I
not
like
a big
Ricky
fan.
Gervais's version 1,000 times better than the American.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Office in general.
When the American version
uh,
came out, I thought it was the stupidest show on the planet. I didn't watch it because I'd watched Gervais's British version. I wouldn't say I forcibly watched The Office, but to actually be able to communicate with people after the fact, because it kind of got a rejuvenance, you know, you kind of
on
have
streaming, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, fine, I'll watch all the episodes so I can actually communicate with people. But I wasn't blown away by it. I was
No,
like,
in fact,
I
Steve
think it's
Carell is my
hilarious.
least favorite character in The Office, to be honest with you.
Really?
And I love Steve
like
Carell.
Michael Scott.
See, my problem is I don't like a character who's a buffoon, who's totally clueless, totally, an idiot. So for me, like, for instance, and I know you guys probably would disagree, like, for instance, Maxwell Smart on Get Smart is kind of like my level of, like, stupidity and common sense, smarts with stupid things happening around them. Kind of like Leslie Nielsen in The Naked Gun. He's not stupid, but stupid things happen to him and he responds kind of like sometimes not the best way, right? Whereas Michael Scott is just clueless all the time, and I hate a clueless person all the time. It just, that kind of irks me. So when I read those notes, what you were saying about how, they took the parts of this movie and brought it to The Office, I was like, yeah,
whatever.
whatever. I don't see it. And I also will say, as much as I do like Mindy, none of this movie. She doesn't bring anything to the table. She's just there. You could have.
Well, she only has one scene.
Yeah, she really
so
has that
she's-
one
she's-
scene. Yeah,
So she
and
really.
she makes the most of it.
I don't.
She's
know she
funny
makes
in
the
that scene.
most. I don't think she's funny in that scene. She's like, I changed my email. I moved. I did all these things. And he's like, and I like Seth
Cal's
Rogen.
like,
It's like,
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
I
right.
didn't
Oh.
know that.
Yeah.
So stop leading my friend on.
Stop
Right.
leaving my friend up. She's
Yeah.
like,
And I do like The Office to a certain extent. I just don't like Michael Scott's character. And like I said, I like Steve Carell. Steve Carell played Maxwell Smart in the Get Smart movie.
Yeah, I know he did.
That works for me. Like, for instance, the Ladies Ghostbuster movie. You have what's his name? Who played Thor?
Chris
Hemsworth.
Hemsworth.
He is a complete idiot, and I can't stand idiot characters. They just don't do it for me. Well, Carell does the same thing here in Anchorman.
He's got brain damage.
He's mental retardation is what
Little
basically
bits,
they were
yes,
saying.
yes.
Yes.
I love Lamp.
Love Lamp.
The first movie, I didn't mind it so much, but then when they went to the second Anchorman, it just took it to like 11
Different
and
level.
not
Yeah.
in a good way.
I
So.
kind of like him and Kristen Wiig because they're both
No.
weird that way.
It's what I don't like about that
it
movie.
kind of works.
No, I wish it did, but no. But as far as the other characters, Jane Lynch, she's trying to help him out by offering herself up to him. It's like,
Yes, very, very discreetly. Yes.
Jane-
yeah.
Jane
know.
Lynch.
She
Lynch
sings
is
that little song.
Yeah.
She is
Yeah.
funny. She is funny in everything that she does.
She's a great actress. Yes.
In the movie Role Models,
Yes.
I fall down laughing all the time at her character.
She is a very interesting character. This is the first movie I remember seeing her. And I don't know if she had done other movies before this, but this is the first time I can remember.
Had Glee
not
started?
No, Glee had not started
Okay,
yet. No.
so this is the very beginning of her. God, that Second City cast. If you think about that Second City cast that included her and Steve Carell and Nancy Walls. And like I said, I think Colbert was part of that too. That had to be one of the funniest casts of Second City ever.
Right. Well, I'll even say that the other guys that work with him, that one older,
the Indian guy.
Yeah, he even tries to give him advice. He's like, it's all about love. And then he says it's not about all these like sexual acts that he then starts throwing at him.
Yes, he starts going into him. It's hysterical. Yes.
This is, what is it? The Cincinnati bow tie or
something like that. Yeah.
He's a great little character to have in this movie where he just pops up here and there. What are we? Al-Qaeda and go fuck a goat. Why are you always telling me to go fuck a goat?
Right. Yes.
Is this they bring the comic relief even though they don't need the comic relief because the whole movie's funny, but they bring in that little like extra something in these scenes, which they work really well.
All of the little periphery characters are very funny. Leslie Mann is hilarious as Nikki.
Yes.
Leslie Mann she's hilarious.
She's amazingly beautiful and funny. She
how
reminds me a little bit of Madeline Kahn, a little bit.
How Apatow pulled that off is pretty. That's pretty impressive.
Guy. He's not a good-looking guy at all.
It's pretty impressive.
There's hope.
I like it when she says, "Don't be called Dan." Dan rhymes with man, and man what men suck. But Steve Carell plays Dan with her in another movie down the road. So that's kind of funny.
Dan in real life. Yeah, it's a funny movie too. But even like, okay, take Elizabeth Banks. She's in everything that she does, she's kind of like a real straight-laced lady.
Yeah.
Not in this movie. She even gets into the act. She's hilarious too.
This is the first time I remember seeing her as well. I don't remember seeing her before this in anything. And she might have been, but I just don't. I know Wet Hot American Summer is a movie that most of these guys
with her and Paul Rudd,
which I don't think is that good of a movie. Actually,
it's not that funny.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised people kind of give it a higher grade than it does. But yeah, I mean, I love the interaction between her and Steve Carell in the store.
In the store.
Yeah.
And he keeps asking her questions back.
And I love it later on. He goes to speed dating
yourself.
Yeah.
He goes to the speed dating thing. He starts trying to do the same thing and it doesn't work out.
She asks her, "You retarded?"
Right. Yeah.
Oh God, it makes me laugh. That speed dating scene is so uncomfortable.
It is
on so many levels, especially when the lady who's from Minnesota, her boob pops out.
And he's just like, what?
And he's trying to do everything with his shirt to cover himself up. All of the periphery characters here bring something to the table, and it just brings so much color to everything around these guys.
It does.
It almost seemed like, though, that one with the boob that pops out, that their conversation actually was going pretty good. Maybe they should have actually hooked up. She seemed like really into him, and she was she just kept on talking. Blah, 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 blah,
yeah, she was very talky and very boob poppy outy.
I love the speed dating thing. It's one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie. I think just the fact, like we mentioned, that the ex-girlfriend is there, I think just adds
Psycho.
to it, and then Gina. Would you
put a little?
Would you consider wearing a little rouge?
Yeah,
tuck your sack
in the
back.
sack.
You're a pretty soft looking man.
He's like,
yes,
and that's the one Cal thinks is the
right. Cal, yes, of course, right. Oh my goodness.
I remember when those things were a big big
Oh,
deal.
God,
speed
yes.
dating?
2000s.
Oh
Yes.
my
Yeah.
goodness.
Never did it. Never did
No,
it.
me
Well, I was
neither, man. Me
No,
married
neither.
by
I-
that time, so
I never needed to, so that was always a positive thing.
Well, let's roll into another question. Keep the fun bags rolling, if you will, sandbags, right? Let's talk about Andy's character development throughout the film. What are his key fears and insecurities, and how does he confront them? And you
Well,
can't
I
say
think-
life.
Well,
I think he already has sheltered himself into his own world. I like how the movie starts off. We see him in his daily routine.
Yes.
I love the fact they did that. Maybe I could not deal with the boner that he has before he
no,
has to go pee.
that has to be there.
It has to
but,
be, because every time he wakes
I-
up.
Yeah, well, the
I like
time
when
when
he-
he,
I like
so
when
when
he
he pees in
pisses
his
on
face,
himself. Yeah.
so I don't care for that. That for me,
I
is
think
like,
that was hysterical.
I don't know.
It's freaking hilarious.
But he makes his breakfast, and then he tells Cal, that he really wanted an egg, salad sandwich.
Cool,
But then he didn't didn't have any bread, and that by the time he finished
Yeah.
making it, he wasn't hungry anyway.
And
Like talking
Cal,
to Rain Man there.
and Cal sits there and does the gun
yeah,
to the
right.
head.
Yeah, the brain. Yeah.
But I like his
I
setup.
I still use that too. That the cool. Yeah.
But the setup is great, and it allows us to see that he is somebody who is accepted what he is, and
Mhm.
to a certain extent, he's fine with that. He just doesn't want really anybody else to kind of know.
Yeah, he's
But outside that, he's not an unhappy guy. He doesn't seem like it.
no, he's not unhappy at all. I think that he's very content, and I think he's just resigned himself to the fact that this is who he is, and this is who he's going to be, and he's very comfortable in his own skin.
Yeah, I mean, if he never played poker with the guys, this would never have been an issue.
right,
He just would have went on with his daily life.
right. He's got his two friends that he watches Survivor with.
Or exactly
And-
what needs to be named.
Yeah, but you're telling me he's comfortable. He's very fine with who he is. But I think that as the movie progresses, he goes through the everything that's uncomfortable. And then he realizes that there is another part of me that needs to be loved. And he finds that in Trish. And I think that it's a beautiful thing. I think it's a very beautiful story that is told in a very unbeautiful way. He opens himself up. He finds true love. That's pretty cool.
The fact that he goes straight to the back room. I mean, that's what he likes. He likes to
Mhm.
hide in the back. When he first comes into the store, a lady tries to ask him a question, and he's like, don't talk to me. It's
Right,
like, so he goes back there, and that's why Cal thinks he's a serial killer, is just the way he describes his day. The way they get him in to hang out with the guys is brilliant. So he plays online poker. They're having a poker game. He knows how to play poker. They invite him in. He feels comfortable with that.
He's cleaning up.
but he's cleaning up. But I love the fact that they accidentally got him into something that he feels comfortable with, that allows him to have this discussion with these guys. I think the development is largely based on these three friends. These friends basically help him to see what he's been missing. So he's introduced to all these different things that maybe he forgot about when he was younger, or avoided altogether because of all the mishaps that he had with the other sexual encounters that he, tried to have when he was younger. I love the fact that these characters are giving him shit, but at the same time are encouraging him. It comes off being real friends. And I like that, because that's what real friends do. Real friends give you shit, but at the same time, they're there to support you. And I just love that growth. And they're on the ride with him, for that growth. And you talked about it earlier, Ted, about Cal kind of encouraging the relationship with the grandma.
With Trish,
So-
yeah.
With Trish. In fact, the first person he calls is Cal,
It's Cal.
to tell him about his date, because they may be the closest relationship because they've actually worked in the back
Closest.
together.
Yeah.
It just feels very real, organic relationship. they're just developed really well for a 2-hour movie. You just don't feel like that any of these relationships are forced.
No.
They
Yeah.
feel very natural, and and all three of them are, like I said, unique to each other, but they work as a whole. This whole group. We've been friends for a while. We've been in groups of friends. That's what happens.
This is like us hanging out playing poker. I mean, let's keep it 100. We do the exact same thing. It feels natural. If you have a group of guy friends, this is how guys talk to each other. And
before this podcast, we had this a situation where one of us had an issue, and we were like, okay, we're going to be blunt, but we also are going to be supportive at the same time. Same thing here. They're blunt, but supportive at the same time. That this is what friendships are.
It's what happened. And you're right. There isn't one single character here that doesn't feel like a real person. You're watching a movie, but the characters feel like real people. That you're like, oh, okay, I can see this, and I can see this happening, and I can totally,
nothing feels forced.
No.
The only scene that bothers me is the scene where he is trying to find out how to get his boner away off the phone. For me, it was just a little unnecessary and stuff like that. I understand why people might like it, but it's like it says to call you guys after 4 hours of direction, but I didn't even take it. I haven't even But for me, I thought that was part of the movie that we could do without. It slowed it down a little bit too much for me. But outside of that,
it's only a couple minutes. So
it's only a couple minutes, and I disagree with Eric. I don't like the peeing in the face. It's gross out humor for just gross out humor's sake. And there's nothing
I don't think so. I think he wakes up with.
He wakes up all the time. Time with a boner. He knows how to. Yeah.
He's very backed up, and he wakes up with wood every morning.
Right.
And this happens to him every morning. You get that feeling. And
but that's why I'm saying that for me it's not funny, because he does wake up probably every morning like this. I don't know. It's just thrown in there to throw in their sake, in my opinion. But everything else works extremely well, like effortlessly. I mean, and I think it's because a lot of these guys have great acting chops. They have great comedic timing. They also were improving the whole scene.
Yeah. They also have camaraderie where they work together. They build off each other. Like I know your gay scene,
right. That was all improvised.
All improvised. That could have been so bad.
Sure.
But Seth Rogen and Paul Rudd are so good comedically and so good in timing each other. It's an art. It really, really is to yes and, because that's essentially what they're doing is a yes and. It's an improv thing. We're talking about 3 or 4 people here who are the best at what they do. Seth Rogen is insanely hilarious. And so's Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd's likable in every single character he's ever played. And Steve Carell the same way. And you get that improv feeling that, a lot of this stuff probably wasn't on the page.
No, but at the same time, these parts were written exclusively for these actors. Paul Rudd's character was written for him in mind. So when you write a character with a person in mind, that's how it flows. Casting of these characters, it's perfectly done, and that's because, like I said, you're writing for that person's strengths. Each person's strengths come out in these characters. Even when we get
Kevin Hart.
Yeah. So Kevin Hart, not a very well-known actor at this particular time.
He was nobody. He was probably doing stand-up at this time.
Probably so. Perfectly cast for this, that part in the movie. Even the side characters, even what's his name's girlfriend who comes in and questions about the speed dating and stuff like that.
She's funny too.
Did you write down a hoe for show?
For show.
Yeah, that she was a hoe
Faux show.
I love how like Steve Carell then goes,
Yes.
your bitch be running wild. It's just
He just completely goes like off the rails.
It's so funny. At the end of the day, when the dust finally settles on Judd Apatow's career, the two things that are going to stand out the most is how he is able, like Ken said, to see funny in people and to immediately know you're an Apatow guy and you're going to be able to get this. He's essentially taken over the mantle of what Kevin Smith started out as, is being able to write real dialogue that human beings talk together and how they interact with each other, and to create real human characters. I think that that's the brilliance of him. And I think that that's why he's one of the most successful writer-directors of the time now. There are a few that miss, but almost every single one of them hits. If it's an Apatow movie, you have to see it.
Considering where these movies are at, these is mid 2000s where he's at the peak of his like powers. And because this is one of those questions now, does his movies, can they be made now? They do step over boundaries left and right. And
yeah, this type of comedy is
okay.
It's an era gone by, unfortunately.
It's only 20 years ago.
I will politely disagree. There are people where this sense of humor, I think there's enough people that like to be challenged comedically that would get this.
How is this any different than Blazing Saddles or any of the other movies that we say won't work today?
Come on. You know the answer to that question.
There were a lot of racist jokes in this movie.
There are, but they're not overtly using the N-word.
And a lot of homophobic jokes in this movie, too.
And a lot of stereotypes.
I don't see how this gets the exception and the other movies don't. So I'm going to disagree with you.
If you're like then me, how did Sausage Party get made?
Sausage Party wasn't a big hit, though, to believe it or not.
It's hilarious.
For you, it's hilarious. Me and Eric don't find it as hilarious as you do.
It's freaking hilarious.
We find this movie hilarious.
Yeah, what was Sausage Party?
Sausage Party is like 10, 15 years ago now.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Well, 2016, 9 years ago.
16, yeah. I thought it was
9 years ago. Well, I said 10.
You're close. You're there.
Then explain the popularity of comedians like Matt Rife or Tony Hinchcliffe, Andrew Jeselnik.
So this has been my argument for all these other movies. When I say funny is funny and it doesn't matter when it gets made. So I've been a big supporter that something like Blazing Saddles can still be made today. But you guys have shot me down left and right on this. But then we get to this movie, it's like, oh yeah, this is not a problem whatsoever.
Ted, you answered your question, Ted, right there. You named 3 comedians that most of America don't know exist.
Oh, I disagree.
Those
with Matt Rife and Andrew Jeselnik.
I'm talking about those are not names that you're going to see on the silver screen in movies like this.
Tony Hinchcliffe has the most popular podcast going. He actually beat Rogan.
But we're talking about movies, though.
We're talking about movies, though. Podcast is that is the future of communication. What we're doing now.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with you, Ted. It's just that you have been disagreeing with me up to this point. So that's why I'm bringing it up.
The problem with Blazing Saddles is the use of the N-word.
N-word is used here, too.
It's all over the place.
It's all over the place, these words. But I agree with you. I'm just saying that I think the other movies that we're talking about could still be made. I mean, we talk about comedies in the 80s and 90s that you say that can't be made now, but the ones in the 2000s can.
I agree with you that a movie like Blazing Saddles can be made, but some of the language is going to have to be changed. And that's a tough thing to have to do. Whereas this is just straightforward funny. And this is a double standard. I'm not saying that there's not a double standard as far as comedy goes. Judd Apatow can get away with anything. Seth Rogen can get away with anything. Jonah Hill can get away with anything.
I agree and disagree with you on that.
Other comedians can't.
But they don't even try anymore to do that.
Right.
Give me something recent.
That's the problem.
And that's what I'm saying here is like these people that you just named that you say they can do it now, they don't even try now because it's either that they've decided that it's not worth going after the woke people or they've run out of ideas. One or two. And as you get older, you get a little bit more maybe mature and your comedy maybe changes a little bit. I mean, Paul Rudd now does Marvel movies and Seth Rogen, I barely even see Seth Rogen. I don't even know what Seth Rogen's been doing.
He does a lot of producing. He was in that Apple TV show, The Studio.
He does a lot of Canadian TV commercials too. Ironically enough, right?
I mean, if I think of Apatow and I think of his movies, I don't know when the last movie came out that was a big hit. I mean, I'm looking down here, maybe Trainwreck, but that was 10 years ago.
He was a producer on that, wasn't he?
He was the director of Trainwreck.
Okay. That was a big hit.
I know he did The King of Staten Island, but that really wasn't a big hit. But that's
good movie, but wasn't a big hit. No, that was, I think that almost went to video, didn't it?
But Trainwreck is like the only one that I can think of here. This is it right here. This is the heyday right here from 2004 to probably 2010. This is him. It's unfortunate because I think he's extremely talented. I just talked about how I love the fact that he writes for people for their strengths and puts them in spots where they succeed. I mean, we take look at a list of the movies that he's done. Okay, he didn't actually direct Anchorman, but he did produce Anchorman. He wasn't a writer on that, surprisingly enough. 40-Year-Old Virgin, he knocked up. He wrote for Walk Hard, which is one of my favorite movies. People like Funny People. I'm not a big Funny People movie guy. This is 40. He directed Trainwreck. I mean, actually, looking at this list, actually, I'm kind of surprised there isn't more here. He's wrote Celtic Pride. Unfortunately, he wrote You Don't Mess with the Zohan. Sorry about that.
Ooh, yikes.
Yeah. Ooh.
Not everybody's perfect.
I guess not. He does a lot of producing, though. He isn't a producer or an executive producer on a lot of big name movies. In fact, I would say he's exclusively a producer now. I still think these kind of movies can be made because funny is funny. It doesn't matter when it's done, as long as you get it greenlit. Because even Steve Carell, I said earlier, was worried that this was going to be, because of the language and things of that nature, that was going to be pulled. So he had a clean version of this movie. But I think funny is funny. I think the key here is getting studios to accept it. If you get the studios to accept it and you're able to throw it out there, people are going to watch it if it's funny. Simple as that.
People are unwilling to take risks.
Audiences don't care. They'll see whatever gets thrown out. But it is the actors and directors and producers that are worried about how blowback you're going to get on these things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more difficult to take risks nowadays. And that's the unfortunate place we find ourselves in.
Which is funny. Like we brought this up in another podcast. It's funny that Deadpool gets away with what they get away with because Deadpool is just like this type of movie.
Mm-hmm.
This is very
Ryan Reynolds he's not afraid to put it out there.
And that's why I'm saying if you can get the studios to buy into something, if they know it's going to make them money, they don't give a shit what it is. And they know Deadpool is going to make them money.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds is that person.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of things that have to come together now to make, I guess they consider this a raunchy comedy, to make a blue type comedy. I don't think it's a lost art, but I think it's in hibernation right now.
Waiting for some special person out there to kind of bring it back to life.
And it's going to have to come from one of these stand-ups that I talked about.
Yeah, but one of these stand-ups that you're talking about, they have to be likable. They have to be likable like a Paul Rudd, Steve Carell, and I like people that you just mentioned. And I like Rife. He's funny. I enjoy him. If you listen to his stand-up, he can take race and turn it around and, make it funny and people in the audiences are laughing. But does that translate to on screen with him? I don't think so. I don't think he's a leading man or leading, comedic man for a movie. And that's what we lack right now. We lack men who are men actors that are funny on stage that can translate to the big screen. We just don't have them right now.
We don't have Eddie Murphy or Richard Pryor.
No, we don't have those guys. We don't have Robin Williams. We don't have any of those guys who to translate over to the big screen. We had people that tried and failed. I remember when Dane Cook
stole all of his stuff. That's why he
but he was a good
funny.
actor.
Yeah.
For movies he could actually make those movies work. But people just weren't accepting him. I can't think of an actor right now that has made that leap. We now take people that, like The Rock, go from wrestling to action films and comedy films. And I mean, Kevin Hart is probably maybe the last guy to go from stand-up to big name actor that, is basically in everything. I just can't think of an actor right now that was stand-up in the last 10 years that is like trans over to film. So I think that's where the problem is. Like you said earlier, these directors and writers and stuff like that don't have the balls to kind of like push the limits and get things done. Apatow, where are you? Where are you hiding?
Please resurrect George Carlin.
It's hiding behind all his money he's made.
Well, George Carlin is not
George Carlin.
Doesn't translate to movies. You love to bring George Carlin in, but he's not a movie guy. I know George Carlin's your man, but there's nothing.
Unfortunately, he's dead too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he's dead. But even on film, he didn't do anything special on film. I mean, the Jay and Silent Bob stuff.
Dogma.
I thought he was great as Cardinal Glick in Dogma.
But those are the roles that
were made.
That's the roles that he can only do, though. Are those?
That's true.
Those piece roles that he's on the screen for 5 minutes and that's all you have him for. I mean, he's not a lead actor by any means, and that's what we need. We need
he's not a lead actor,
comedic actor to bring us, into the next, next 5 or 10 years. We just don't have those.
Well, maybe the evolution of comedy kind of has a little bit of a low point, and eventually it'll resurface.
Like Ted says, the comedies they're on stand-up. Stand-up guys are still pushing the boundaries, and people are laughing and going to see them. They're not bringing those guys over to film.
Right. Bert Kreischer sells out arenas.
Well, those guys might not want to go into film.
There's no film out there for them to go to.
But you also have to want to be an actor. There is a difference between doing your own stand-up and having to memorize movie lines. Some people are not comfortable being directed and being in front of the camera that way in a movie. They prefer to be, a freewheeling spirit, an online comedian.
Yeah.
It's not that they couldn't. It's not that they couldn't do it. It's not that, maybe the offers haven't been made. It's that maybe they just don't want to be that person.
And the vehicles are not out there for them to transition to that. That's because you need those transitions. Even like if I think about Amy Schumer, great stand-up.
She went clean.
She was
she had a kid and she's married.
She's the last person I can think of that transitioned very well from stand-up to doing movies and stuff.
Her stand-up isn't funny anymore. It's my whole thing with Dennis Miller. Dennis Miller turned into a conservative and became unfunny.
Oh, come on, Ted. Come on.
No, he did. He's not funny now.
Because
he was hilarious before.
Because he's a conservative. Let's not.
No, it's because he's.
You just said it.
He just, his mind went and took everything too seriously. He's not funny anymore.
I think other people find him funny, but it's on the other side of the boat.
It's mean. Yeah. He was never mean.
Norm Macdonald was mean.
Norm Macdonald was hilarious.
It was hilarious, but he was mean.
Well, yeah, but O.J. Simpson deserved it.
It wasn't just O.J.
So how does Trish, we haven't really talked about Trish up to now. How does Trish challenge Andy's worldview And in what ways does the relationship shape this narrative?
She believes in him. She believes that he's a great person and he can do great things. She's the only person that really believes that if he gets out of his bubble, that he will succeed greatly in life. I think that that's a big attractive part of her character to him, because she's the one that's like, yeah, you could definitely open up your own store, and you should do that.
Totally disagree with you on this. She's not the only one. I think she is part of the three friends, because the three friends are also believing in him in a different way. They're all in together trying to get him out of his shell. So I don't think she's the only one. All four of them are making him uncomfortable. They're trying to get him out of his comfort zone. She wants him to get out of his comfort zone where part of the job, right? Where, he opens up to her and tells her about what he wants to do. He would like to open his own store. And then she tells him how he can do it. And then later on, he basically tells her that she's forcing him to be, to give up all his toys and what he loves and stuff like that. So they're all making him uncomfortable because he reacts the same way to all four of them. He bites back at each one of them when he is frustrated. How many pots have you smoked? He gets upset about, how they took him out of his comfort zone and put him in a situation. I love her reaction to this when he says, I didn't ask for any of this. And she says, you asked for all of it. I love that line because he did. He didn't knowingly know that he was asking for it, but he was. I think he's been wanting this all his life, or else he wouldn't let these people do what they're doing to him. He could easily just quit the job, shut down, whatever. But inside, deep down inside, he wants to change, or else he wouldn't let these people do what they're doing to him.
Ted, no rebuttal?
No, I understand what Ken's saying. So, and he's right. Everybody has their own way of believing in him and pushing him. But she's the only person of the opposite sex that's ever done that. I think that comes from her experiences that she's had as well, which that's funny. Well, you saying I'm a mistake? No, your sister was a mistake.
Right.
She's a member of the opposite sex that sees something beyond the face value of what he presents. I think that's why she's such a beautiful character. And because she's like, yeah, this guy's a little awkward. Yeah, he's got a lot of toys.
Well, it's the opposite of everything she has dated in the past.
Right. And Kevin Smith touches on this as well about when women reach a certain age, they go for the good guy and stop going for the bad guy. He brings that up at the beginning of Clerks too.
Ooh, a Kevin Smith drop. Mark the time.
Yeah. So she is going out of her comfort level, but I think she's in a position now where she is comfortable and able to do that. And she likes him because he's a nice guy who has a lot of potential. And she just finds that attractive. And no other lady in this, not even in this movie, but no other lady has been that for him.
So what I would say about this is her circumstances needed someone like Andy at this particular point in her life. I love her character and the fact that she's not a perfect character. Sometimes we get these romantic interests that are like, there's nothing wrong with them. There's, they have all the answers and they're just waiting
for you. The savior
to,
character.
Yeah, the savior character. And even though she is kind of a savior character, she has her own issues. She's
human.
She's got kids. She's got a teenager that's not listening to her, that wants to have sex with her boyfriend, and she actually calls Andy over to kind of help him with that situation. And
that's hilarious.
And Andy doesn't know anything about kids, but he does it anyway. And then he takes her.
Is it true if you don't use it, you lose it?
And I love the fact that the daughter figures him out. And he knows that. I mean, of course he said, well, I'm a virgin. And she's like, yeah, you are.
Yeah.
When are you going to tell mom though? And that's her advice too. Is like
Right.
she knows her
Just
mom.
tell her.
She knows her mom well. It's like, just tell her. But I like her because she has a past too. That's why she wanted, dates, and that's why they didn't have sex, is because she knows that the sex that she's had has ruined relationships.
Well, they would have on the first date if the daughter didn't walk in and he knew how to put a condom on.
Like,
what did he put on his toe?
on.
He put it on his toe, didn't he?
I love him when he
The
puts it on his arm.
Teach me.
He's like Aquaman.
Yeah.
You guys have sex all the time. We've never have sex. Yeah. But you wouldn't know that with all the 15 condoms that are laying on the bed, right? What does that say about her, though, that she has a big cup of rubbers in her bedside drawer?
She's hopeful.
She got around for a while.
She's hopeful.
Okay.
She's a little promiscuous.
Promiscuous, yes.
She has been. Yeah.
She has 3 daughters, which she keeps on forgetting how many daughters she has. She went from 1 to 2 to 3, and then a grandchild. Yeah. So,
I mean, it's funny. And Kat Dennings' character, her daughter, she's another one that has that great comedic timing. Yeah, we haven't talked about that. The scene at the clinic. I think because Nancy Walls and Steve Carell are married, they connect in that scene so incredibly well when she's describing the different things other than intercourse. She says something and then he has an immediate comeback towards Kat Dennings' character. It is pitch perfect as far as the give and take.
By the way, did he steal the vagina thing from the doctor's office?
Yes,
brought it home.
He did.
She's like, "What is that?"
Together.
What is that? A vagina.
Vagina.
The box of porn. Oh, so everyone loves Raymond.
The worst advice they gave him, the guys gave him, was telling him to get rid of all his toys. That, for me, that was the worst.
And he cleaned out his entire house.
Right.
I love it. I love it when Cal's like, "Is that Steve Austin's boss?"
Yeah.
Hey, he's more valuable than actually a $6 man. Yes. So. You have more toys here than the Asian kid.
Right, so, right.
I mean, I love his chair, his gaming chair.
Of course.
That gaming chair is even better than any gaming chair I've seen out in 2025.
It's probably custom made, man. It's probably custom made.
It's pretty awesome.
It is awesome.
Pretty awesome. That's how my apartment would look if I was single, to be honest with you.
I'd have
toys all over the place.
You would have shelves of... It is your apartment. You're absolutely right.
But yeah, that was a bad move on their part because of the fact that let him be.
Was it though?
Weird.
Because that's a first impression. Is that really an adult first impression? I could see where they would think that would probably freak out anyone who first meets him.
If that's the case, then wait for her on the steps until she shows up.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't think just getting rid of everything, because how do you explain it later?
I love how they get rid of all the furniture too. It's like everything's
gone. Everything's gone.
He's going to get carpeting.
Yeah, carpet with hardwood floor.
Maybe I should pull up the hardwood floor and see if
carpeting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love his apartment. Yeah, that would be exactly
all your stuff up.
All my toys. I have to find homes for my toys right now.
Maybe you should get that other apartment and make that your man cave. Then you'd be close to your little restaurants you go to and bars.
There you go.
That's what you need. You need the man cave. We should all go in on it together. Just a third. Yeah, that wouldn't be too awkward.
I do think the women characters, all the women characters in this movie are great. We single out Trish here, but I mean the store managers, is great.
Yeah, Jane Lynch is priceless in this.
Jane Lynch is amazing, yeah.
Yes.
There's no wrong move here on the casting. I can't find one person that I say, I wish he wasn't in this movie. They're all perfectly done. It elevates the material, and the material is great.
Well, let's talk about who is your favorite character in this movie and why. I'll go first. My favorite character is Cal, because I love Seth Rogen. I love that he improvises a bunch of lines in this. He's like the perfect stereotypical pothead character out there that I can think of. And he plays it so well because at this time he really was a pothead. So it probably still is, but his timing, witty responses to everything that he's like right there. It is just every time I watch him on screen in this movie, I am just like, oh, it is awesome. I'm just laughing my ass off. How about you, Ken?
Andy. Andy's my favorite character because outside of the 40-year-old virgin portion of it, there's so much to be relatable with him. I mean, not just the toys that he has and things of that nature, because I can relate with wanting to collect all that kind of stuff. I can relate to not taking the chances and stuff like that. Not only does he not take chances with the sex part, but his career. He's okay with being content where he's at. As long as he's able to, I guess, get the toys that he wants, then he's not going to try to make that leap. I also love the fact that at the end of this movie, they wait till they get married. I love the fact that they wait to get married, that they don't have sex right there, right after he rides his bike through that truck. Yeah.
With the with
billboard?
the advertisement eruption.
Yes.
I love where the bus is like following him and he can't get away from the buses. Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yes.
But I love the fact that they hey, we got to this point. Why don't we just wait till we get married? I think that's very, very traditional, and it actually adds to the relationship that they created together.
The trust.
Yeah. In some aspects, he's like one of the guys. He jokes around, like I said earlier, when the girlfriend comes in and gives him a hard time, and he goes off on her, and it's he's like one of the guys all of a sudden. But then he's at other aspects, he's got this childhood type of way about him. Like Ted was talking about when he's in the therapy session with all the other parents and their kids and stuff like that, and he's asking all these questions. There's a great balance of his character,
and those parents and other kids are like insane.
Yeah, they're just crazy.
the one guy, can I stop her menstrual cycle?
Right.
Yeah. But I think Andy has a great balance. I think his character has a great balance between struggling with certain things, but also being stronger in other things. Because he's not a hopeless character. He's got some strengths to him. He's a devoted person to his friends. They put him through a lot, but at the end of the day, he goes to bat for them too. Steve Carell, this is perfect for him. He is Andy, and of course he wrote this movie. So yeah, Andy is my favorite by far.
So yeah, I'm trying to place who's my favorite character because there's so many.
Come on, Ted, you gotta pick one, just one.
It's cliche, but it's got to be Paul Rudd. There's
why?
Just something
why is
about,
that cliche?
Because it's cliche now that everything that he does, that he's America's favorite person, and that's because he's so likable. There's just something relatable about his character. He's holding on to this relationship that he had for like 3 months, and he can't get over it. There's something that I can kind of relate to that vibe. And then you kind of learn more about that whole situation. It sets him up to be very funny. And I like the fact that at the end, and like Ken had said before, that all these guys are friends. Cal hires that lady to take his place in the back room.
Right, like a 95-pound.
Right.
Yeah.
He hires her for Dave, and I like the fact that at the end of the movie he finds her, and that they realize that they have a lot in common.
Right.
I think that's really good for him. I can relate to working in a mall where you hear the same music over and over again. And you just, I'm gonna kill everybody.
I like it when he sells the TV and he's like, to the guy who likes the Michael McDowell music.
Yeah,
he's like, I'll throw in the DVD with it as well, even if you don't buy it.
Yeah, right. I'll throw it in if you don't buy it. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Paul Rudd's character a lot. If I had a second place person, that Paul Rudd's character would be it. The way he's jilted in his relationship.
Yes.
I could see him why he obsesses to a certain extent. I mean, he takes it to 11, unfortunately. I love the fact that Cal's like, I got you a 80-pound stock girl who can't
Right.
lift anything,
Right.
What do you say? I
And-
can't lift a video camera or something. Something
Yeah.
like, yeah.
I love, and that's a nice thing too, to have that side relationship,
Yeah.
between, Cal and Paul Rudd's character. I think it works really well. The fact that, he cares about him. We talked about earlier during the speed dating, and he's like, stop messing with my friend, right?
Right. Stop messing with my friend's mind.
Right.
But I think that adds to the relationship they have with Andy, because when you see them helping each other out, that explains why they're helping Andy out, because that's what friends do, right? And it just adds on to it. I mean, it's these little things where you don't even notice it until you do a deep dive, and then you realize, wow, these guys really care about each other.
Well, I'm going to end on one final question here. We've talked about it briefly, but I think we can delve into it to end it out here. How does the 40-year-old version influence romantic comedies or comedies in general after its release? 20 years ago. Big influential movie, this one.
It showed that it could be elevated to something even more funny, or not more funny, funnier, and that it didn't have to do the paint by numbers romantic comedy style. I think that there's movies that follow this that don't follow the paint by numbers that so many others do.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, we take a look at the later movies that we see as, Knocked Up and This Is 40. These are movies, they bring in real life kind of feels to them.
Situations, yeah.
Yeah, like you said, they're not paint by numbers. It's not the
Not the
the girl
rom-com. Yeah.
not the girl saves the boy or the boy saves the girl. Like we said, paint by numbers. It ushered in more of, let's go deeper into these relationships and find the heart. Instead, let's make something funny. We want to make something funny, but let's make sure it has a heart to it. And I think that's what this movie, provided. I think we're getting back to the paint by numbers type of movies in this day and
Unfortunately,
age.
yes.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think for a while there, we had, romantic comedies that actually made us go, I can relate. This was funny, but This Is 40 for me is a really, really under the radar movie.
Yeah.
I don't think it gets talked enough about, because it really shows, relationships and how they struggle, how work and kids and all this other stuff plays into trying to keep a marriage afloat when you're in your 40, when you're around 40 years old. And Apatow must have a thing for 40. I don't know. But
I think you're right.
I think that's what they've done for
I would agree.
for movies. Yeah.
All right, so before we wrap it up, give you the wild card question here. Anything that you want to briefly talk about before we go into our reviews? Anything you feel we missed? Anything you want to give your opinion on? Ted?
We've discussed a lot of what I wanted to talk about. I don't think that it's underrated by any stretch of the imagination, but I think that we've taken for granted this level of improvisational comedy, that there's only a handful of people that can really, really do it at a high level. And that's what sets a movie like this apart. The whole give and take, like in the room at the at the clinic, that give and take is so amazing. And he's so right. He's on point, and the whole on point between Rogen and Rudd when they're in Andy's house about, hey, know how I know you're gay? That takes the talent, and I think that's been lost. I think too many writers fall in love with their own writing, and don't allow our comedians to do their work. They really let these guys do their job and be funny, and it shows.
Clearly. How about you, Ken?
Well, I would just want to bring up is just scenes that we just didn't touch on real quick. I love when Trish thinks Andy is a sales marketer, because
Oh, yeah,
he's nervous
yeah.
and stuff like that. And she just goes off on him and stuff like that, and like, get a real job, and like he's so pleasant, and she just goes off on him.
Totally going off on him.
Like a scene that like really stands out that we didn't really talk much about, I still think, is the scene where the Andy and Nikki, played by Leslie Mann, when they're driving home. That for me, it's the best. It might be the best scene in the whole movie. I just could just think of him being in that seat, scared for his life because she's like drunk, and she just goes through all like different phases of her life. She goes off on men, and she like men are like dicks and stuff like that, and then she goes, I hope I get my period soon, and I mean, she is hilarious, and like I said earlier, she's extremely attractive. She's very pretty. I think all the opportunities for him to actually get laid before he actually ends up with getting laid at the end of the movie are funny. I mean, Elizabeth Banks is really good as Beth, and she's smoking hot as well. And the funny thing is, I think Leslie Mann and Elizabeth Banks, they're hotter than Trish. They're younger and hotter. I mean, he's meeting them in the clubs and stuff like that. They're still doing, the club vibe type of thing. And Trish is a stay-at-home, not stay-at-home mom or anything. She works at the eBay store, but she doesn't go to the clubbing. I like the fact that he's passing, or it's just not connecting with these other girls, because he's ready to cave in, with Elizabeth Banks' character. Goes to her room. I love it when she, he takes off the shirt, and she's like, wow, and he's like, oh, that was a fun night.
She's turned on by it.
She's turned on by the freakiness and stuff like that. I mean, she whips him, and he's like, ow.
Yeah.
So, and she's like, you want to see how I pleasure myself? And it's like, and then she has the handle, and he goes, your friend is very shiny.
Yes.
So these scenes are just awesome. I mean, they have the scene where they're doing the waxing, there's just so many things to this movie that we haven't really talked about as far as how funny they are. We focused on the relationships of all these different characters.
But you got to remember, people have seen this movie.
Yes,
hopefully.
People have seen this movie. Well, hopefully.
Yes.
And even if you have seen this movie, you need to go back and watch it again if it's been a while.
Watch it again.
Because this movie is still amazingly funny after all these years. Some movies, are funny for its time. This is a timeless comedy. Yeah. This is timeless because even though a 40-year-old virgin is something that we don't think is a common theme, right? But everything around it is common.
I don't know, man. These days, it might not be as uncommon as you think.
Yeah, we didn't really give enough credit to the waxing scene. It's
cancel all my appointments.
Yeah, it's pretty hilarious.
Kelly Clarkson,
I'm going to need more wax.
And it's just uncomfortable long enough.
Yes.
It hits that sweet spot where if it goes any further, it's going to be very uncomfortable.
Well, I love the fact that she's laughing. And he's like, what are you laughing at?
What are you laughing at?
I'm wondering if she's laughing because of what Steve Carell is actually saying. I wonder if that laugh wasn't scripted.
Well, I'm sure it wasn't.
And she's just laughing, and then he decides to, take it to the next one.
Well, you only get one take.
Right.
You only get one take, so
it's
not like you're going to do it again.
Right.
Patch it back on.
Yeah.
Just like, put some glue on it.
It is so funny. And I love the fact that he ends up with the face on, and Paul Rudd goes, "You're a man-o'-lantern."
Man-o'-lantern. You like that line, don't you?
Yeah, that's pretty hilarious. And then after he's going home after he's called it all off, and the front of his shirt he's got the blood marks.
Yeah, it's blood marks. Yeah.
Then you also have that scene where he gets the box of porn. And
box of porn, Boner
and then
Jams 03.
he gets the candles. He sets the mood for everything. He fast forwards through everything, and then at the end of the day, he watches Everybody Loves Raymond.
Right.
Yeah, I love it when Paul Rudd's like going over, all of his videos and stuff like that, and then he's like, "Everybody loves Raymond." Well, maybe that doesn't belong here in this box, but
right.
School of Cock.
Yeah.
You ever-
Yeah. Boner Jammers, what, 03?
Yeah.
I love when Trish comes in and he's like, yeah, and he's trying to explain it. He's like, yeah, I think he's got a problem.
He's got problems.
All right. Well, let's go into our reviews. I don't think there's going to be a surprise here, but let's got to do them anyway. Ted, kick us off.
I mean, it's no secret that I love this movie. I probably watch it a few times a year. It's one that I always go back to. There's really no down note in the movie for me. It's just funny from beginning to end. And I think giving credence to that is Steve Carell and Judd Apatow and the knack of putting human feeling characters on the screen. And there's something about that not everybody achieves. And there's something very cool and unique about that when it really happens. Because these people feel like people that you could run into at any particular place. Yeah, this isn't going to be a big surprise. It's going to be a 5 movie for me, a 5-hook movie. Because I don't really see anything wrong with it. It doesn't make me laugh every time. Yeah, even though I know what's coming. This hits my comedic funny bone perfectly. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, and so I mean, there's no big surprise here. What about you, Ken?
I mean, I agree with you. There's really no real flaws to this movie. If anything, they could have shaved maybe a little time off of this movie. It comes in over 2 hours. I mean, there are some scenes that I feel like maybe we could cut a little bit here and there, but for the most part, there's not a misstep here at all. I understand to a certain extent why you gave it a 5. The only reason why I can't do a 5 is just because there are 50 movies that I would watch at least before I would, that I consider better than this. And my 5s, I've always felt like is, Mount Rushmore type of deal. But this movie is definitely a solid movie. Steve Carell does a great job, as does everybody who is in this movie. Like I said, there's not a bad casting in this movie. Everybody that plays their part to perfection. There's very rare movies that can do that. He's usually a one character. I'm like, oh, I wish we didn't have that character here, or I wish we didn't have that character there. If anybody, maybe the scene where, I need to get that discount, that warranty for free, maybe that scene could have probably, maybe that could have been done, but I'm still good with it being in too. So I'm going to give it a 4.5 because I do think it's one of those movies that I'm going to go back and see over and over again. I'll be honest though, it's been years since I actually watched this movie. So for me, a 5 would be a movie that I would watch on a yearly basis. And this isn't one of them, unfortunately, but that doesn't take away how good this movie really is. So I'll leave it there. 4.5. Eric, take us home.
Yeah, it is probably one of the greatest comedies of all time, in my opinion. I haven't watched it in quite some time either because there's so much content out there to watch. But I was rolling watching this movie. I think of all those scenes that we talked about, and I just get a smile on my face. The movie is great. I don't know if it's one of those movies that can be made again, but for the era, I mean, it was right there. The casting is perfect. Everyone is on par. Few little things here and there, but nothing that really takes away from it. It's not a 5 because, like Ken, I can't give a 5 out that easily. But it is a funny movie, and I highly recommend this movie if you are not easily offended. Hopefully you're not. Hopefully you've already seen it if you're listening to this. This is a solid 4.75 for me. It's right up there. It's just a great movie. So, Ken, what are we doing next?
Well, we're going to start the new year with recognizing those we lost in 2025. And unfortunately, one of those people is Rob Reiner. So we're going to honor Rob Reiner by doing the movie Stand By Me, which is also going to be celebrating its 40th anniversary. So, yeah,
Awesome.
We're going to start the year on a somber note, go from one extreme of comedy to something a little sad. But it should still be a great episode because that movie is
Stand
one
By
of the
Me is
classics.
amazing.
Stand By Me is just a great, great movie. And now we're selling our cards on it.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we did all the Rob Reiner movies that we did early in the podcast history. Go back and listen to those. I think after Stand By Me, the only one that we're really missing is Misery, which is another masterpiece. Maybe we could do that for Halloween. Rob Reiner, the loss of Rob Reiner is very difficult.
And especially the way
because
we
of-
lost Rob Reiner, too, makes it even more
Right.
difficult.
Right.
That's tragic.
It's hard to sit with. I did watch the special that CBS did. I
Yeah.
thought they did a very good job.
Good.
And see how many people's lives he touched. Of course I loved all the Princess Bride stuff. Princess Bride is an amazing movie. So
It'll always
And
be
you can go-
Meathead to me.
always be
And if
Meathead.
you want to, you can go back to our other episodes. This is Spinal Tap,
Yep.
The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, A Few Good Men, The American President. So we've done a good number of
Clearly Rob Reiner
movies.
fans.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, how can you not be? And I think we have a good selection there. Definitely let's go back and listen to those episodes. We have a lot of fun with the Rob Reiner movies. I think that you want to talk about like how the 40-Year-Old Virgin is like a tent pole comedic movie. When Harry Met Sally is one of the greatest romantic comedies of all time.
And of course, This is Spinal Tap is one of the
Right.
beginning
It's-
of the mockumentaries.
Mockumentary, yeah.
Me and Eric had the pleasure of. Well, I think it's more of a pleasure for me than maybe Eric, but Eric needs to rewatch it.
I
This is Spinal Tap
do.
too.
We saw it in the
came out last
theater,
year.
and I do need to rewatch it again. You're right. Maybe I'll give it a second helping. for
That would
Rob.
be the other movie that I would want us to do as a podcast down the road too. Is that movie? So
Yeah.
But we lost some great people though in 2025, so we'll recognize them as well. But yeah, Stand By Me is going to be our next movie. And Happy New
I haven't
Year
seen
for all those
Stand By
people.
Me in years.
God,
Oh my
I watch
goodness.
it. I watch
it's been
that at
years.
least 2 or 3 times a year for me.
How many
I love
movies
that
do you
movie.
able to squeeze in? Because every movie
I
you
know.
watch is
Listen.
2 to 3 times a year.
Oh, I watch movies all the time. That's
see
what I
that.
do.
Yeah.
We watch
it's-
movies. I don't know how you even watch new movies. You're rewatching all your old movies. I don't know either, but-
All right. Well, that's
is
all
what
the
it is.
time we have on this episode of Hooked on Movies, the podcast. And as always, I like my drinks shaken, not stirred. Martinis,
See-
everybody.
See you at the movies.
Happy New Year from Hooked on Movies.